to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. This week's headlines. The trial of activists demanding an end to cheap labor commences in Indonesia. 5 persons have been arrested in India over the latest beef murders. The Thai junta has halted the lawyer council elections, and the student union ban creates a political vacuum in Pakistan. Finally, we'll look at 3 urgent appeals from India and Indonesia. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Jessica Fernando. In Indonesia this week, the trial of 26 human rights defenders began on March 21st at the Central Jakarta District Court. The defendants include 2 lawyers, 23 laborers, and 1 university student, who were arrested on the 30th of October 2015 during a peaceful protest in front of the presidential palace. They were calling for an end to cheap labor practices. The activists were charged under Articles 216 and 218 of the Penal Code on crimes against public authority. The prosecutor insisted on carrying out the case against the 26 defendants, ignoring public pressure and the fact that there is no evidence against them. The 26 activists became victims of police brutality as they were beaten, kicked, and dragged at the time of the arrest. The police also used sticks to damage their vehicles. It is believed that the criminal charges against them are part of the government's efforts to end demands for labor welfare and for the cancellation of Government Regulation No. 78, which supports cheap labor in Indonesia. Just Asia talks to Yunita Purnama, legal counsel for the 26 defenders, for more information.
The case is actually started when the labor group students held the peaceful demonstration on 30 October 2015. The peaceful demonstration is conducted in front of the palace. They asked for the president to cancel the regulation about the wages that the labor take the regulation with the position of labor and not give them any welfare. And because of that, 23 labor were arrested, including 1 student and 2 public interest lawyer of LBH Jakarta, who also the lawyer of the labor and student. There were actually 2 number cases. In this case, with the prosecutor and actually the same person. Actually, the case is already brought to the court yesterday. There were hundreds of labor students who actually doing protests in the front of the court because they think the process of the case is not fair. And besides of that, the situation on the court is guarded by the police, by the 100 police with the gunfire, the barricade car, water cannon, and other equipment. Besides of that, all the human rights defenders are represented by around 70 lawyers. And yesterday they were around 25 lawyers who actually came attend the court. Yesterday, all the human rights defenders they didn't come because the letter called them is violate the law of the criminal procedure. So the lawyers asked the court to order the prosecutor to call them properly.
In India, 5 persons have been arrested in connection to the death of 2 Muslim cow herders on the 18th of March. The 2 were on their way to a Friday market with their buffaloes when they were beaten up and hanged to death from a tree by suspected cow protection vigilantes in Latehar district, Jharkand state. This incident follows a spate of such beef murders in the country. Mohammed Majloom, 35, and Azad Khan, alias Ibrahim, who was only 15, were said to be related. Their bodies were strung up with their hands tied behind their backs and their mouths stuffed with cloth. The incident ignited protests by locals in Jabar village and turned violent when police tried to take down the bodies. Several police officers were injured when villagers threw stones at officials who arrived in the morning to manage the situation and ensure that it did not take a communal turn. The police are apparently searching for 3 other suspects involved in the murders. One of the arrested persons is a member of a cow protection committee. Under the present Indian government, there have been several beef murders, beginning with the lynching of a Muslim man in Dadri, Uttar Pradesh, for alleged beef consumption. In Himachal Pradesh, a man was killed for suspected cow smuggling, and in Haryana, a group of migrant workers were attacked also for suspected cow smuggling. Moving to Thailand. The National Council of Peace and Order issued an edict to halt the upcoming election of the Lawyers' Council President and Committee for 2016 to 2019. A letter sent to the Lawyers' Council by the NCPO last week reasoned that the Lawyers' Council has many members and that the election of the Council might be deemed a violation of NCPO Announcement No. 7 of 2014, which bans a political gathering of 5 or more persons. The move was condemned in a joint statement issued on the 21st of March by lawyers and rights groups, including the Human Rights Lawyers Association, Cross Cultural Foundation, Latehar Foundation, and Union for Civil Liberty. They object as the order to halt the election is a serious violation of human rights and the principle of the rule of law. The group statement read, "Lawyers have the right to establish and join an occupational organization to direct ourselves and to represent and protect the honor of lawyers. Members of the executive committees of occupational organizations must be elected from their members and be able to work without outside intervention." In Pakistan, student unions have been banned for 32 years, since February 1984. At that time, military dictator General Zia-ul-Haq banned them because he was facing resistance from unions, which were against the hanging of political leaders, the killing of students, bombarding villages, and the flogging of political activists and journalists. Student unions in Pakistan have often been wrongly blamed for promoting violence on campus. The ban on student unions has created a political and leadership vacuum that has been filled by undemocratic forces like military dictatorships and Islamic and sectarian militancy. Banning student unions has stymied campus development and students' welfare issues, damaged the personal growth of students and of healthy debates. Successive civilian and elected governments have failed to restore student unions because of indirect control on political affairs by the security establishment. Finally, the Urgent Appeals Weekly features 3 appeals from India and Indonesia. An urgent appeal from India documents how activist lawyers of the Jagdalpur Legal Aid Group, journalist Malini Subramaniam, and activist and politician Soni Sori were harassed, threatened, and subjected to violence. From Indonesia, the Asian Human Rights Commission received information regarding the death of Mr. Siono, who was arrested and detained by the Anti-Terror Police Unit on the accusation of being a terrorist. Initially, the police stated that Mr. Siono died while attacking a police officer guarding him at the police office. Recently, however, the police revised its statement, saying Mr. Siono died from being hit by a hard object on the back of his head. Also from Indonesia, local community protesters were attacked by police in East Lombok while protesting against a government plan to issue permits for sand mining in the area. Police used tear gas and threw stones, injuring several protesters. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.alrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.